hopefully they'll pop in. So I wanted to have this mandatory meeting because it's been probably, I don't know, it's been some time really, that I started to get complaints. Sometimes it was staff coming to me with concerns about things that other staff were doing that they were seeing. I had observed, hello, we couldn't get into the Zoom.
Okay.
But so they're supposed to be joining on Google Meet, and Laura's recording me on her phone. So we're very professional. And then there were some things that I had personally observed that were concerning to me. And then part of the reason I thought we just have to have this meeting now is because we had started to receive complaints from clients, things that they were seeing, things that they were observing. Sometimes they just voice those concerns, in passing. We've had some clients that have asked for meetings because of the concerns that they have. And so I know we have been focused on, again, getting them in moved and how do we get them in the right place. But we do have to address these concerns. And part of it is we want to make sure that we're working as best as we can together as a team. And I think that when you maybe have one staff person that is struggling in their role, you might just kind of take that person aside and address that depending on what it is, how it needs to be addressed. But because some of the issues were so widespread and it wasn't just complaints regarding or concerns regarding one staff person, it was several staff people. I decided that, maybe in the course of, again, transition and moving around, some of our expectations for what we need to do as a team hadn't been clearly communicated by myself. So I wanted to take an opportunity to make sure that we're all on the same page regarding what we need to do and how we really operate with excellence. I know we've talked about that in some different ways. There's Tabby. Hello.
Hi. Hold up. I'm gonna try and get my Bluetooth connected.
Okay. So we wanted to make sure, it just seems really loud, maybe that's because I'm sitting right by it. So I wanted to make sure that we really understood what it meant for us as an organization to operate with excellence, not perfection, of course, but excellence. So that doesn't mean that, in our job sometimes that we don't make mistakes or don't understand something. I don't want that kind of culture or environment, but there are some things we need to do to take a step forward as an organization to provide excellent services. And I know we've talked about this before as well, kind of in regard to community expectations. And CU at Home has had so many shifts and so many changes.
Can you ask for mute yourself?
Oh, can you mute, Tabby? We're getting some background noise. Thank you. I was wondering, I was like, what am I doing wrong? Awesome. Oh. So, but the community is looking at us right now. They really are, and they're wondering, and in some respects, can we pull this off? We've said we're going to do this program. We've said we would have certain outcomes for people. And so another reason for us to really make sure we're operating with excellence is that, we've set the bar pretty high. We've told the community, and again, I don't think we've overpromised. We haven't said 100% of our people will be getting their PhDs in a year, but we have said that we're going to help people on their journey towards stability, and the goal would be permanent stability. So that means we have a lot of work to do. So some of the concerns I have listed out here, I don't know honestly that they're all listed out because, like I said, it's been over the last several probably months that concerns have started to come in. Staff with their feet on their desk and their personal vehicles for extended amounts of time, so not in the office, not working. Oh, thank you. Watching movies, music videos, playing games on their phone during work hours. And I know, especially with life skills, it's a long 12-hour shift. It's not that, you can't ever check your phone or, take a call from somebody in your family, but the concern was it's extended periods of time. They're on the phone, either on a phone call or watching a movie. It's extended periods of time. And so we can't be vigilant if we're on our phones for extended periods of time. Long periods of time where staff are unaccounted for, people don't know where they are, what they're doing. And again, some of these concerns have come from clients. They've needed something and they're like, well, I can't find this person, or I've tried to contact them and I never get contacted back. I don't understand what's going on. Staff unsure about what people's case plans are and what clients are doing for the day. So there's no interaction between clients and staff sometimes where there should be. Staff are reporting for themselves. They're not sure what their roles are. They need more clarity in their roles. Staff aren't showing up for work on time. I know we had a recent incident, and this is important for everybody, needs to be on time. But when somebody is coming off a 12-hour shift and you are even 5 minutes late, that feels like a lot. And so if you are running behind, obviously, you need to communicate that. We've all had those times where we've got a flat tire, we've gotten stuck in construction, whatever that is. But you have to be able to communicate that. But the goal really is just be on time. So not calling off in a timely manner. These are concerns, again, that have been brought to my attention, again, and some that I have personally even observed. And so I know that these things are happening. So we want to make sure that supervisors, leaders know and understand their responsibility to assist the staff. So we do need to make sure that as staff, what are your roles, what are your responsibilities, what does it mean to be in this position? And so we have a responsibility to do that. If you need more training, we have a responsibility to do that so that you can excel in your role. So that's something that, your supervisor might notice and point out that you need more training, or it may be something that you want to bring to your supervisor's attention. You may say, hey, I feel like I need to understand this more. And again, I want that kind of culture where we're talking about excellence, but that doesn't mean we expect everybody to know everything all the time. It's okay to say, I need help, I need training, I don't understand this. And again, that's the supervisor's role, is to say, great, let's get you training. Because there's a huge difference between not doing your job, not caring about your job, and just needing more training. And so in those instances, we want to provide that training. Our goal really is to retain our staff and to have our staff be satisfied in the work that they're doing. So we need to make sure that we are monitoring progress. That's something we need to get better at. I'll own that as well. We don't always do those 30, 60, 90-day reviews. And again, those shouldn't always be seen as punitive. They are points of growth. They should be training and assistance that is being provided along the way. And so that's something we're gonna come back to. I think we've done a few very early on, and then it's just been, again, a lot of moving parts. And so we need to come back to the point where we're regularly monitoring the progress of our staff, making sure that they're continuing to grow in their roles. We want to make sure we have clear and consistent communication. And again, part of it for me, as I was seeing all of these concerns and hearing all of these different things, I thought maybe we haven't communicated clearly what the expectations are. And so that's one reason I want to make sure that we're having this meeting today. If there are questions, we can ask those questions. And if you don't think of it right now, but you think of it later on, again, it's open dialogue, it's communication. But we want to be clear that there are a certain set of expectations that everybody needs to follow. And then we talked about writing work performance and corrective action plans as needed. So staff responsibility, we are going to start having morning meetings every morning, so you'll be responsible for attending those meetings, being on time for those meetings. They're going to be quick meetings. I'd like them to be about 15 minutes, and it really needs to be, what are you doing today? What clients are you meeting with? Do you need help with anything? And just going very quickly around, because I know we can have those meetings and we can get kind of caught up in like specific client needs, and those meetings could potentially take a long time. But the goal is that way we know what everybody has on their plate for today. And then also, again, if they do need assistance, we know that up front at the beginning of the day.
So who's in, I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Who's in those meetings? The same group, right?
Yes, the
Okay.
same group, or whoever is at the shelter for that day. So if it's at the men's shelter and Don's working the day shift, or Demarius is working the day shift, or you would be over there some, whoever is at the shelter needs to be in that morning meeting as well, so we know what they have going on for the day.
Will that be like in place of devotions, or will we do devotions?
We'll still do the devotions, so this meeting will be at 9, so we'll do our devotions at 8:15.
Oh, okay.
We'll have a quick morning meeting at 9, and then hopefully on with the day.
Okay.
You're responsible for meetings on your calendar. I've said this so many times, like I live and die by that calendar, which is why I can't believe I only put you on for that meeting, because if it were me, I'd be like, I just didn't even know there was a meeting because it's not on my calendar. But if somebody puts a meeting on your calendar and say, for example, you can't make it, it's your responsibility to decline that meeting. That way that person who sent you that invite understands, oh, for some reason, this person is unable to attend this meeting. I need to think about another time to schedule it. So that's your responsibility to do that. And then if you can make it, it's your responsibility to accept the meeting and to show up to the meeting on time. You need to be responding to emails and texts during your regularly scheduled work hours. Obviously, if there's a text that gets sent and you're off for the day, we're not asking again that you are, sometimes the text thread gets kind of wild. But if you are on for the day and we're kind of saying, okay, this thing has happened, we need to know where everybody is, who's covering the office, who's able to be at 410 because we've had an incident. So you need to be responsive to those texts during your work hours. And a lot of times it's sending out those texts because something has come up that we didn't know about. And as we know, like with Nancy being out, even office coverage is now something we have to be strategic and thoughtful about. So we need to know, where are you? What do you have on your plate? And can you maybe assist with what's happened? All right, so you need to report personal or emergency situations immediately, or as soon as possible, obviously. That way we know that something's come up. Like, for example, this morning Cedar came, I've got this hospice meeting, this wasn't planned, but obviously that takes precedence over what we're doing here today. But it was important that he communicated that and not just us sitting around saying, well, where's Cedar? So those kind of things, again, we want this to be a place that supports you in your family lives and your personal lives. That's very important. But sometimes we need that communication so that, one, we're not concerned about, okay, is this person okay? And, has something happened? Those kind of things. So we just need, again, to have that communication happening. Let's see. Oh, if you have long periods of downtime where there's not a lot going on, and I know this happens a little bit in the houses, and again, obviously we want our clients going to their appointments and we want them working. But if, for example, you're sitting there and you're like, wow, it looks like there's going to be a good 2 hours, there's not going to be anything to do, it's your responsibility, if you don't already have something, to reach out and say, hey, is there something I can assist with? Because a lot of times there is. Even just something as simple as, you could help write some thank you notes to people, or you could, work on the wait list, or whatever that might look like. So there's always something to do. So you're responsible also to take complaints to your supervisor or to HR. I think of all the client complaints that I feel like are the most serious, and I think they're all serious to some degree. But the one that I think feels most serious to me is that staff have been complaining to clients about working here at CU at Home, that they're not satisfied with the organization or with their work and so forth. So obviously, I'm not saying sometimes complaints aren't valid and that they don't need to be heard, but we should not be complaining to the clients. That makes them feel very unsafe, unstable. It's the opposite of what we're trying to do for our clients. And so it's really important that we handle that in the right way. Sorry. All right, are there any questions so far? Any thoughts,
Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't here in the meeting. I apologize, maybe I said this. Will this video be shown to the shelter, the license team? Cause a lot of these things maybe pertain directly to them, and I wanna make sure, how do we clarify that they get this information?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons we wanted to record it, so that they could, you know, not have to come in for an extra meeting. That's, I know that's really hard when you're working 12-hour shifts, and some of those shifts are overnight. So they can watch this recording on their regularly scheduled shift, and then communicate questions or concerns then to their supervisor.
And a lot of this stuff will be gone over again with them. I'm having a full staff meeting with life skills, in about 10 days.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. That's what I was gonna ask, because I know it hasn't been one, and I know we talked about how
Yeah.
everybody's still calling me about everything.
That's the top of my agenda. Stop calling.
Yeah.
You made the top of the agenda. Yay!
I do think it's, I know you also said it's gonna be like something like we're gonna be checking in with them about their progress or whatever,
Mhm.
this and that. Is that gonna be like, similar to how, well, should I be giving that, cause you know, we did like the evaluations with staff and everything
Mhm.
in the past, should I be giving like, or should I give those, I mean, I think I still have them. Should I give them to like Ryan or Laura, do you already have them? For like,
The one, Sharita was actually really good about doing her
like
staff
30, 60, 90 day
evaluations.
stuff?
Yeah.
You can give it to me.
Okay. And because I told Ryan about, I didn't really get talking to Tabby a lot about that, but I told Ryan about that for sure, and I gave him like the templated schedule already and everything, and told him how it usually go and what I would usually do. But yeah, I think that would help a lot if they have like something to go off of, like where
Yeah.
where I'm backing at or where their strengths are.
Yeah, so if you've shared that with them, share with me what you've shared with them, and then I'll go over it when I meet with just Tabby and Ryan, and then I'll go over all the general stuff in the other staff meeting, the life skills staff meeting. That would be great if you could share that with me.
Yeah, and I haven't been to the women's house as much, but I know, well, recently, but, I know on Thursdays when I really go to the guys' place, when we had the split shift for me and Cedar. But, like, I would leave, kinda like how Sharita used to do sometimes, but, or when I was at the shelter for like the rest of the week, when I wasn't there from like, Thursdays or Fridays or the weekend, I would leave a note for them, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, like make sure this and that. And I kind of did the same thing just like last Thursday because the chore list, I don't know if I don't think I gave it to Tabby, but I gave it to Ryan. But the chore list and stuff, I was telling them like make sure they actually do that because I don't think nobody mop. I see they be sweeping, but and also like the fridge can get cleaned out. Little stuff like that, but I can share that with her too if she doesn't have it.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that way everybody kind of has the information. And then if you are looking for things to do or you're not sure what to do, if you have, kind of a guide. But yeah, definitely, those kind of it will be the same. So we'll all do that. We'll all do 30, 60, 90-day performance reviews. So that we're making sure that we're all, moving forward in our jobs. But yeah, I love that. Sharita was really good about making sure those were done with her staff. Oh, there's Ryan. Okay, hello Ryan. All right, so one of the things that we're gonna do, hopefully, to help us, again, kind of communicate, make sure that we know what everybody's doing and help us move forward is we're also going to have one-on-one meetings. So everybody will be meeting with their supervisor one-on-one regularly. And part of that will be, again, what's going right, what strengths can we build on, what do we need to work on in terms of work performance. And so if there is an issue that persists, at that time, they will be addressed in those meetings. Sometimes that might be a performance review in terms of maybe it does look like you need some training. Other times it could be a corrective action if it, is something that, we've discussed and you've been trained on and you're not making improvements. So those will be handled in those one-on-one meetings. And that will happen with case managers, life skills, and then Tabby and Ryan will be responsible with their staff also to have regular one-on-one meetings in case you're seeing something that is concerning, or again, a strength that we're identifying that this person is really good at this, and we want to make sure that we, continue to build on that strength and utilize those skills, because I think staff obviously feel more fulfilled in their jobs if they're kind of operating in their skills and in their strengths. So we don't want to just point out concerning areas. We also want to make sure that we're encouraging people in their strengths. So we'll have regular one-on-one meetings, so look for those again on your calendars. So if it's not a good time for you to meet, it's your responsibility to accept or decline those meetings. We will have the morning meetings, again, they'll be at 9-15 minutes. They're just gonna be quick check-ins. That way we're really kind of saying what's on your plate for the day, what might you need help with? And then again, if there's something that comes up during the day that's unexpected, we do need to be aware of what's going on in those text streams, for example, because that will be where we'll be communicating kind of those urgent needs where we need to know, okay, where did you end up? We don't have anybody to cover the office. What does the rest of your day look like? Those kind of things.
So our devotions are 45 minutes.
No.
Yeah, no.
Is there would be value to making devotions at 8:45? I mean, is there to link them back to back? I don't. I
Yeah,
was thinking like I won't be in those things, but I had a devotion.
That's a good
at 8:15,
point.
it's
Yeah.
hard for me to get into getting something done and coming back at 9, like you.
Yeah.
Right.
that's a good point. So move those,
Just
yeah,
FYI,
maybe.
I'm not a great, my mind doesn't think very well on his thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Yeah. We could move those to 8:45 and then have the morning meeting at 9.
Yeah,
That's
I
a good
agree,
idea.
because I was
Mhm.
just thinking that pretty much means that, I would do nothing for an entire hour. Or besides the meeting
Right,
devotions,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah, so I'll change that on our calendars. And for some reason, my calendar has declined all the devotions. I have no idea why or where that came from, but I do plan to be there, so. Okay, and then in the same idea of, again, sometimes it is about corrective action, sometimes it is about concerns, and we want to make sure that we're addressing those and addressing them quickly. I think that's another thing that hasn't happened. We've seen concerns, we've heard about concerns, we've been putting out fires, but one of the things we have to do is start addressing things as they're happening so that we know to correct the behavior rather than letting it continue. But we also want to acknowledge what people are doing right. So we're gonna have little containers. Susan said we actually have one here, but we're gonna put something at both houses where if we see a staff kind of going above and beyond or just doing an excellent job, you wanna put something in there, put a note in there, and just kind of say what it is that you observed, who you observed, and then put your name on that. And then quarterly we'll draw somebody out and they'll just get, like a little gift card and just a thank you for, doing an excellent job. So, but are there any questions again, or maybe concerns that I did not have listed on here that you feel like, hey, while we're all together, this is something we really need to address or talk about?
I do have a question about the incident that happened Monday night, I think it was. With Lavelle and Yusuf, they said that they had left out the shelter, didn't tell anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So I checked the camera. I didn't finish watching. I meant to tell you yesterday, but I was drained. But I did watch it a little bit, and I didn't see Yusuf leave. I talked to Yusuf and Lavelle, and basically Don made the incident saying that they snuck out. So Lavelle said Don gave him a paper, like a write-up or whatever, and I asked Ryan about it, but Ryan said he does know about the paper.
So Lavelle was at work.
Right, he was at work. He said he gave a schedule to,
Jean Cesar.
yeah.
So,
But what I'm trying to understand is, situations like that, for instance, like I know as a team lead, I would, talk to Don and be like, why'd you say Yusuf left? Because from what I see, Yusuf didn't leave during the time frame that I'm looking at yet. And then Lavelle, he had work in it, says it on the schedule or whatever. So, Lavelle did say he didn't sign out. Lavelle did say that he refused to take a drug test because I guess they were going back and forth with words or whatever.
Yeah, he said he doesn't need to take one because he was at work.
Right. So, and he was at work, but I told him that whenever staff asks you to take a drug test, like that's, and if you deny it, that's gonna be a fail.
Yeah.
So, he understood and everything, he took one.
So I know that Don made notes, but he didn't, that morning, Tuesday morning, there were no incidents filed. There were no incidents for either of those. Because we get those, there's been an incident.
Yeah, it was. He put an incident for Lavelle and Yusuf saying that, Yusuf left out and then Lavelle left
Okay,
out.
cause when I started the day Tuesday, they weren't in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know what day, I think it was the 11th, I wanna say.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, it was in there, and I told them both I didn't read them yet, but I did hear about what happened. And, I think I just, as far as had it up here, yeah, 9/11, I was just reading it, and,
Okay.
yeah, but he said Lavelle snuck out between the times of 10:30 and 11:30. But Lavelle said he left out around 8. And I read something else that said he left out at 8 too, I think it was in the case notes, in the life skills notes, but Lavelle was gone before that because he had work at, I want to say 10:45.
Mm-hmm.
He said he went to go catch the last bus and be there earlier, so he can go stop at the gas station across the street, get some food and go to work. But, yeah, so in that, the basic what I'm saying is in that situation like that, I know as a team lead, I would usually talk to the staff and be like, what happened with ABC, and why did you say this, that, the other? Did you check the room? Because so far I see that Yusuf was still in the room. And then as far as Lavelle goes, basically like more information about that. Because if you look at the incident, all he said is sometimes like he just wrote a sentence,
Right.
So I was like, what else happened? And like more details about the back and forth, whatever. Because Lavelle said so. In that situation, usually I'll write the email, but do I talk to him personally? Or do I tell Ryan to go talk to him? Or how would I tell you?
So if you are the case manager for Lavelle and an incident happens and it's about your client and it's, he left and you can,
Who's on the phone?
That was me because it said my mic was muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so is it still echoing now?
No, I don't hear an echo.
Oh,
So if it's your client, then you need to address it with Lavelle. So this is what I do as a case manager. So, Dorothea writes an incident that someone in AP, one of my clients, has done something, and I feel like the notes aren't sufficient, then I would tell Tabby, hey Tabby, Dorothea wrote some notes and I don't really understand them, can you go over how to write notes with her? And then I would address the incident with my client.
I hear an echo now, sorry. Maybe you might have to mute again, Ryan.
I don't think he can mute on his phone.
Can't you?
Yeah, I guess he can.
Phone? Yeah.
is it fine now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay, because it's hard to hear on the phone, so I was trying to, listen on the computer while being on the phone.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think there's anything wrong with case managers talking to life skills staff, and I think that goes back to what Melissa says about us being a team, is that if you feel like the notes, you have questions about the notes, you can go to that life skills person and say, I'm confused, can you help me understand this? And then speak with your client. And also maybe touch base. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis. So if it's definitely something that continues to happen and a life skills staff person isn't making proper notes, then you need to let the lead know. that
Yeah.
you feel like they're not making.
I think part of the difference is kind of saying, okay, I need this information because I'm gonna do and work on a case plan with my client versus, yeah, you need more supervision and training, which would be kind of in Ryan's lane, I think, or Tabby's lane.
Gotcha, cause I know,
And I was gonna follow up, so I had talked to Don today as well, and he was adamant that he checked the room twice, he took whether he was there. So I'm not sure what that was about, but as I explained, when I came in, you took was asleep, and that was has been consistent story. But there does seem to be some other concerns as far as the bell. I kind of talked to the bell this morning, and just kind of focus on himself. His goal, if he has concerns about interacting with Don, I suggested that he probably make sure he's another, preferably another staff member, but another client is here as well, because I'm not quite sure, what exactly their report is. There's been some history between the two, so I just really try to do the focus on, things he can control, but, I'm hoping there's nothing, going on.
Yeah, so that's great, Ryan. When you or Tabby do something like that, like if you follow up with one of your staff members and you feel like what you're following up with them might affect case management, if you could just make a life skills note, like a separate one, and use that middle box that notifies the case manager. So for instance, if you spoke with Don and Don gives you more information, if you could fill out the life skills note, and then kind of explain to the case manager in that middle box, what has transpired and what you discussed with Don, and then save it. That'll notify the case manager with an email, and then they can look and say, oh, okay, well, this is what really happened. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. You guys are so smart.
yeah, I was just kind of curious because I know in the past, like, let's say if it is an incident between staff and a client, and then, like, usually I would have everybody sit down and talk about it. I talk to the staff first, and then I know the person I would go to and tell about would be Sharita, and she would document it, whatever. And then Sharita would go and do like a little one-on-one with them or whatnot. So in that case, who would be like with Ryan? Cause I told him I'm gonna look into it, but for me, I didn't know if I could, cause that's not my.
Yeah, so you're a case manager.
Right, and so what I tell you, when he contact, Ryan contacts you and tell you like, yeah, so.
Yes.
I would sit down with Ryan.
Yeah, so Ryan or Tabby, when they have a situation like that, they would contact me and say, hey, I'm not sure what to do about this, or how would you like me to handle this?
Gotcha.
But again, I know there's this hierarchy, but the thing that I love about working here is the fact that we can work as a team, and that, like if you need to not be in life skills anymore, but but nobody's ever gonna step on my toes. Like if you're standing there and something's happening in front of you, and you're like, hey, this is not the way this works.
Right.
Or if you're in the, I think we just all need to we all have the common goal of helping our clients in any way we can. And while there needs to be some structure, I feel like working as a team so we're all kind of informed about what's going on, which is why I kind of suggest that everybody poke around the life skills notes, just so they can get a kind of idea of what's going on with all the clients. But you're never gonna no one can step on my toes. We're a team, and I really feel, if we're all in the loop, it's gonna be better anyway.
Well, and I think that the daily huddle, you call it the daily one, the daily huddle will hopefully also help with that, right? Because then on Tuesday morning, somebody would have said, and then there would have been a plan to correct, right? I think that huddle is a really great idea.
Yeah.
Because it really is a safety issue. It's
Yeah, and I
what's
think,
happening not only what are you doing, but what happened that we need to correct.
Yeah, well, and I think it's one of those just being multi-site. Again, it was before we could just walk out into the Phoenix and say, hey, there was a thing that happened, or, you know, but now it's like, okay, we just have to be more intentional about how we communicate. So we're a multi-site organization. We always have been a little, but we really are now for sure, so.
Well, in the healthcare system, you know, like health hospitals, you can get in on Carl Cristiano's, that they'll do that every morning, there's a 15-minute huddle. The goal is not to solve the problem, the goal is to identify who's gonna take charge of it.
Yes, and that's why it can be 15 minutes, because we're not solving it at that meeting, but we're understanding, oh, that's on your plate for today. Do you need help? No? Great, let's move on. Or maybe you do, and then those two people could even meet after the meeting. Yeah. So that's how we'll keep that meeting a little bit shorter. All right, anything else that we need to think about?
I just wanted to say something about social media kind of stuff and you know, to Tabby and Ryan, who I've not had this conversation with, but anything that you feel like is social media shout out worthy, or just fun little interesting things, you know, meals, or and this is for everybody, you know, if it's okay with the client, just take a picture, or if somebody drops a donation by, or if there's anything that you can feed me that I can use on our social media, I appreciate that. We need to make sure that clients are okay with us using their pictures, so, you know, make sure and ask about that. You can just take a picture and slap it on the text thread or email it to me. And send me whatever information, you know, if somebody has bought a meal or a donation or something, try to get their name, their organization, so that I've got some context for posting whatever it is.
Anything else? All right, there is a place, we're just gonna have everybody sign. It should be on the back of,
I wrote it on
oh. So name, signature, Tabby and Ryan, I sent this to you also, if you could print that out. And then as the life skills team has their meeting or watches the video, they'll need to do the same. So that again, part of it is just clarity, communication. We're all on the same page. We know what the expectations are moving forward. Do you need one? Well, that's all we have. Thank you. Sorry about the confusion on the Google Meet and Zooms, but I appreciate y'all making it.